Welcome to Happy Healthy Vegan. This is Angie and I'm back again with another cooked food recipe. So I think it was last month that Durian Ryder posted a video showing himself eating a gigantic bowl of cornmeal, which he called ugali. And he talked about how it has great benefits for the Kenyan runners and that it's a staple of their diet. So I was super curious and I looked it up and I read a couple different recipes online, and then I set about making some for myself, and I thought it was really delicious, so I wanted to share that recipe with you today. So it turns out that ugali is traditionally served with something called Sukuma Wiki, which is a type of soup made out of collard leaves. In fact, the word Sukuma Wiki supposedly refers directly to collard leaves and means weak stretcher. Now, some people online are using kale instead of collard leaves, and some even suggest that you could use spinach as well. So it's your choice, but I wanted to go super traditional, so I got these great organic collard leaves from my farmer's market. Now, mixed with that is tomatoes, and I'm going to be using a mix of fresh tomatoes and a little bit of, I would say canned tomatoes, but these come in a box. These are organic tomatoes imported from Italy. A little fancy, not local, but that's how I made it the one time I've tried making this, so I'm going to just stick with what I did then. And then for flavoring, as you know, we're staying away from salt in this channel, so there's no salt. I also stay away from oil, and I stay away from onion and garlic. And I know a lot of you have been asking why I don't eat onion and garlic, and I'll get to that, I swear, in an episode with Ryan, because Ryan's the main factor why I stopped eating onions and garlic. But we are going to use some lemon, and I've got one little sweet pepper and a couple of mushrooms, which I'm using to give it more of like a soup base. Plus I've got a few tasty little added spices, which you can choose to use or not. I've got organic turmeric, cumin, black pepper, and I'm just going to put a dash of cayenne. Alright, so I'm going to start off my Sukuma Wiki with half a cup of the chopped tomato sauce. Then I'm going to chop up my mushrooms and pepper and add that to the pot. If you want to skip the mushrooms, if you don't eat mushrooms, that's fine. I just kind of use this as a substitute in a way for the onion and garlic to still give it some sort of like an earthy flavored base, but one that's not quite as harsh. Just gonna chop it up real small here. I suppose you could skip the pepper too. I just happen to find these at farmer's market and they're pretty good, and it helps add a little bit more flavor to the tomatoes. You know, I honestly can't even remember why I used the chopped tomatoes the first time I tried this recipe, but I don't want to jinx it. I'm just going to make it exactly how I did. But now I'm going to chop up these fresh ones to add to the pot. I keep thinking every week, oh, this is going to be the week there's no more fresh tomatoes at farmer's market, but somehow I keep finding them. You know, I should mention that you should never refrigerate fresh tomatoes. You should always leave them out at room temperature to preserve the freshness and flavor. That was something I didn't used to know, and I've definitely noticed a difference now that I keep them out on the counter. Okay, so I've got just a little over 2 cups of fresh tomatoes, which I'm going to add to the pot. And I'm also going to juice half of this Meyer lemon and throw the juice in there as well. I don't think you guys need to watch me do it. Okay, so I've got the pot on a very low temperature here, and I think it's a great time to start adding in my spices. So I'm just going to be doing a teaspoon each, starting with the turmeric. Of course, you can buy turmeric root, cut that up real fine as well, but keeping it simple. Now a teaspoon of the cumin. I'm just gonna shake in a little bit of black pepper and shake in the smallest amount of cayenne. I went a little bit crazy the first time. Then just stir this up. I'm considering if maybe I should add like, I don't know, half a cup of water just to help turn this into more of a soup-like texture. I don't think it could hurt. Alright, so just stirring in the water. Now would be a great time to get the water boiling for the ugali too. So I've got 4 cups of water in a small pot here. Just put this on to boil. And I've got 2 cups of the organic cornmeal Now it's time to cut up the Sukuma Wiki, aka collard leaves. And so I'm just removing the middle stem and slicing this up in strips. You can slice it this way so the pieces are smaller. So collard leaves come from the collard plant, which can grow large as a tree, really. It's usually pretty inexpensive at farmer's market. This whole bunch I got just for $2. Usually the farmers that sell greens will do one bunch for $2 or 3 bunch for $5. This is already starting to smell pretty good. So not only did I chop up the collard greens, I also chopped up the cilantro, and I'm including the stems for those of you who asked me why I didn't use the stems before. I think it depends. I prefer them cooked than raw. Speaking of raw versus cooked, I do eat collard leaves raw as well, especially for wraps, but I do think, they're softer and sweeter when you cook them. So here we go. I should probably put a lid on this, but I've got all the greens in there, so these will slowly soften up, and hopefully the water over here is boiling and I can start making the ugali. Yeah, so here's my 2 cups of cornmeal, and this is only my second time making this. Hopefully everything goes well. But what everyone seems to say online is that you need to keep stirring this as it cooks. That's why I wanted to go ahead and get that soup out of the way so I could put my full attention on this. I switched burners to make it easier to film this. I don't know how much real-time stirring you guys really need, but I just want to show you how it kind of immediately forms lumps, and what I do to combat these lumps is I just squish them with the back of my wooden, bamboo spoon along the edge of the pot here. So, just keep stirring and squishing out the lumps and trying to keep a smooth texture. I should mention you want to keep the temperature kind of low on this because it does start to bubble and pop, which can get a little bit scary. Okay, so this is starting to look pretty darn good. I'm sure some of you out there have been thinking to yourself, hey, isn't this polenta we're making? It almost is. It's just the difference is that polenta is a coarse ground corn, whereas this is fine ground. Now, sadly, I had a little filming malfunction as I seem to have not started the camera when I filmed myself putting the corn in the bowl. It's not that exciting, but basically after the corn had cooked between 10 to 20 minutes, I turned it off and then got out one of my notorious small bowls you guys like to tease me about and say that I'm eating out of cat food bowls. Now, I have a fetish for small bowls and I love to eat multiple servings in small bowls instead of one giant serving in a giant bowl. I don't know why, it's just an oddity about me, but now it comes in handy because I've got all these little bowls to use as a mold for this recipe. So you you scoop the hot cornmeal into here, and then you let it cool down. I don't know, it's maybe been 5 minutes, but you can see that it'll start to kind of naturally pull away from the edges. So I'm gonna attempt to dump this onto a plate now. Now what I like to do is put this right in the middle and then make a moat around it of the Sukuma Wiki. Let's see if I can be all slick. Woohoo! Glorious! Look at that, looks so good. So let me check out the soup and see if that's ready to go. Well, it looks pretty good to me and it smells amazing. So the general idea, let's see if I can gracefully do this, is to scoop this around the outside edges. And oh, it smells so good, you guys. Ryan's gonna be really excited. So just put this all the way around. This is not easy to do on camera. I don't know if you've had the pleasure of having Ethiopian food before, but when I made this for Ryan the other time, he said it reminded him of going to the Ethiopian district in LA to eat, and I have to agree. All right, well there we have it. I think it's time to get you-know-who in here to share the Anji bite of approval with me. So I've got Ryan here to share the Anji B bite of approval. And you know, I actually had read that traditionally you would take this in your hands and make it like a little scoop and scoop it into the soup, but we found that was actually a little bit difficult.
We're not good at that yet. We're going to learn.
So we're just going to do it the Western way with this spoon.
All right.
Why is that so good?
Wow. We're going to carb it up tonight.
Yeah, I think the Kenyans are definitely onto something.
Yeah.
So thanks to Duran Ryder for inspiring me to check into this recipe, and I hope you other runners and cyclists and high carbists enjoy it.
You will.
I'd love to hear your comments down below. And feel free to like or dislike the video to the side. And as always, I'd love to have you subscribe for more healthy recipes, health tips, and vegan lifestyle videos from Ryan and I here on Happy Healthy Vegan.
So until next time, guys.
Oh yes, keep it carb, baby. Keep it carb.